People are saying like closing is hard. It's not that hard. You're never gonna force somebody to spend $500,000.
I see this drive in you that I didn't realize before.
Nobody loves to hear Ron and Dan talk more than Ron and Dan.
First guest of 2026.
I'm number one of something.
So here we are in the beautiful Balkun title office in Fall River with the one and only, the king of the South Coast, Southeast, part of Massachusetts, Ronnie Oliveria from
The
Remax.
original. Hey, thanks
What's
for
up,
having
brother?
me over,
Yeah.
man.
Finally, congratulations as well as in order. So you guys just opened up another office here in Fall River, correct?
Yeah, super excited. I love the city. We've always done a ton of business out here. We started out with a team office. We recruited agents that were deeply rooted from here or from the city. So it was worth the investment. And in probably 18 months' time, we sensed the need to take over and open up a franchise office. So our office has been growing, definitely climbing the ladder out here in Fall River. A lot of great opportunities. I love the city and all of the development opportunities that they're offering. So, and you know, apartments has always been my game, and the rents keep climbing out here now that it's an MBTA town. So super excited for the future out here. And congratulations here. Love the new digs.
Yeah, we just did a little expansion.
Staff,
yeah, we just did a little expansion myself about 18 months in. We just expanded the office, put another couple of paralegal desks in, and another conference room. And you met the girls finally. You got to meet Sarah and Brooke, who head up the operation down this way. So for those that, I don't know how they wouldn't know you, but so Ron Oliveria, how did you get started in real estate? How long you been doing real estate?
I hate it when people ask me that question because then I got to tell you how old I am, and then people will quickly start doing the math, be like, that old bastard is still out here. It originally started with the dream of owning multifamilies. So my parents immigrated here to this country to Connecticut, and then we ended up here in the South Coast. I say I was born and raised here, but my parents immigrated from Portugal. And then I grew up in the multifamilies in the south end of New Bedford. And I always had a lot of admiration for the landlord, the guy that gave us an opportunity to live in his house.
Same.
And the guy owned, a couple of properties. He was respected. He had a business. And I'm like, hey, how else is somebody like myself going to grow into wealth? My family was into the fishing industry. Proud and honored of all that.
Sounds like a New Bedford thing, right?
Yeah, New Bedford, biggest seaport in the world.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, they bring in the most money. They maybe don't catch the most fish, but they get the most money for the landings here.
Gotcha.
Us in Alaska. So proud of that. Proud of all the generational stuff. Yeah. I want to bring some value.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to talk everyone's ear off. But my parents were here. My mother worked in a fish house, and my dad was in the fishing industry till he passed away. Fishing industry wasn't for me. My brother was in it. He's a scalloper, and I always felt like it's not my thing. So stayed in school, graduated from high school, but I always had the dream of owning property. I was always intrigued by it. Used to watch all the late night infomercials like Carlton Sheets, Tom Vu, and then I actually bought the packet and I'd be reading it. Like,
I've never met anybody that's bought any of that stuff, so this is the first one.
Yeah, it was worth it. It was worth every penny. I think it was like $39.99 or whatever I paid for it. And it got me learning how to have conversations about real estate, how to, again, back then there were a lot more distressed properties, talked about owner financing, where to find properties, how to build like a little real estate team around you, because way back in the day when you meet a realtor, they had all the listings and this thing. It looked like a phone book, and you had to go through them and go through the whole process. They were the gatekeepers to the property. So,
so when did you buy your first?
I was
first property.
22,
wow,
23, and it was actually an auction property. It wasn't even the first property that I lived in.
Wow.
I started looking into the mortgagee sale of real estate, and I said, I'm just going to go to the auction. And then I brought every penny that I had because I thought you had to pay for the property there.
Right.
And when the property sold,
you go into the mattress? Is that what you had to find?
It's nobody's business where I kept it. But it was like $12,000 back then. And I'm like, how do you buy a house for $12,000? And that was it. That was that's where the property addiction started. And I was like, if I can do this and raise money, and then we partnered with people who had more money, access to money. I was the guy going to auctions real early on before it became what it is now. And then my thing, I'd have the neighbors come out and they'd be like, did you really just buy this house for like $10,000? Like a 20-year-old kid. I'm like, yeah. Like, well, can I buy it off you? And I'm like, yeah, well, give me $5,000. So that bought me another set of rims for my Mustang, another booming system. And I'm like, I got to do this. Like, this is where it's at,
The Mustang.
And eventually, we saved up our money. I met my wife, and we're having a family. And I said, like, we got to get our first home.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to get married, and that was a freaking disaster. Right, that was.
Did you buy that one at auction?
No, it was an estate.
Okay.
But I didn't know anything about estates. So my first single family home, wife's pregnant, but she was adamant about buying a house in the town of Acushnet. And so I met with a realtor, and he put me onto the cheapest, shittiest little house in Acushnet that we could afford. Needed everything. So I'm like, this is great. I said, do you want it? My wife's like, well, there's no other house that we can afford in Acushnet, and it's close to my parents. And it had a guardrail kind of like going on the side, and it was like on the worst corner in Acushnet.
Yeah.
So we're actually on the front porch of the house, and here comes this kid down this snowy day. We're actually on the porch, me, my wife, and the realtor. This kid comes skidding around the corner, jumps the curb, and actually slides up right to the front porch. And I look at my wife. I'm like, do you still want to buy this house? I was like, this is kind of crazy.
Oh my God.
And
that's crazy.
She says, well, we can't afford any other house in Acushnet, so this is still the one.
Double secure the guardrail.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. So we signed the contract. Stupid Ron goes in there. I'm like, every penny that we have, I start fixing it up. I don't even own the house. But my wife's having a baby.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's get ahead of this. Let me trash it out, start doing some work.
Yeah.
So then I get the call like a month later, like, hey, we're ready to close. I was doing a 203K loan, but I kind of was getting ahead of the rehab. And the title attorney called me and says, no, we're not closing. I'm like, what do you mean? My wife's having a baby. And he's like, no, you didn't know? And I'm like, no, about what? He's like, this is like a serious probate. He's like, that's why this house has been hanging around forever. He's like, there's 9 heirs from here to California, and they all have kids. So now at this point, I have my life savings into this house. Right? Yeah. Whatever that was at the time. Not a whole lot at the time. Maxing out credit cards, buying stuff at Remodeler's Outlet. I had the windows in the house, and we had just paid for a septic design. And yeah, it was a scary time in our life. And we said, well, we got to live somewhere. So we said, well, what's the next cheapest house we can buy? Like started looking at a 2-family. I'd kind of put the investment stuff on hold because I'd gotten all the money I'd made to buy this house. And I said, what's the next thing we can buy? Let's buy a multifamily. Because my wife at the time, she supermarket, been there forever, right? Ron, entrepreneur, right? I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Hadn't settled in anywhere. So at that time, obviously, credit, job longevity at the time, determine your credit. So we found a cheap little 2-family that we were able to qualify for and needed a lot of work, but it was almost habitable. So I got in there and rolled up the sleeves and went to work again. And, that was like our first multifamily that we actually lived in.
You still own it?
Huh? I sold it not too long ago.
Did you really?
And I almost bought it back at auction because they lost it. I think it was a crazy, then I'm like, what? It wasn't meant to be.
Yep.
But then 2 years later, my daughter's already a year old, and we'd gotten married. I got the call for the Acushnet house.
Huh.
And I'm like, and they're like, do you still want it? I'm like, yeah, I still want it. The market went up.
My money's in this.
And all my money's in this. So we ended up closing, rehabbing it, did a 203K, got it all done, moved in there. And that was like my first single family. So then I kept the 2-family, and then my plan started getting back on track.
Right. Got some rental income coming in.
Yeah.
And
we had some equity now. We were in a market that was emerging. So it was kind of good because my 2-family was worth a few bucks more. That single family probate that nobody wanted. Now that was gold, right?
Yeah.
So we got back on our investing plan. So we looked for the next 3-family, bought it up, crappy neighborhood, did the 203K.
So she's been with you this whole ride, huh? Like
I kept telling my wife, I'm like, babe, according to what this says, if we could get 3 or 4 properties, we're good. We're going to be rich. So
That's great.
Once we got to 5, she's like, "Are you done?" And I'm like, "No." I was like, "Obviously, see how much money we're making. Still not enough money." I said, "Just a few more. Let's just go."
No,
with
you
it.
had gotten your license at that time to sell real estate. When did you like kind of get into that?
I would probably say after like my 5th property. I had my real estate license. I'd passed the test early on, but I was, believe it or not, I went into the biggest brokerage, which was Century 21 at the time in New Bedford, Hughes and Carey. And I walked in, and you think it was like you're on Celebrity Walk of Fame. You're like, oh my God, there's Elaine Gasper, there's Tom Gavin, there's this one, that one. All the
and these
people
are all like the big shots, big hitters.
that were on the back of the Saturday morning paper.
Oh, all right.
You know, like the big open houses, like, oh my God, you know, like I know her, you know, and they were like the biggest company in the area. And it was a little intimidating. I was like, how am I going to compete with these guys? Like, I'm a 20-some-year-old kid.
Yeah.
You know, how am I going to compete with these guys? They're all well established. You see them every week. You know, they're mega top producers. That's when I went to go work for a small mom and pop operation. And that's probably one of the biggest mistakes I made. I should have probably just stayed.
Yeah.
I should have probably stayed.
Got the mentorship.
Got the mentorship, immersed myself in a big company, got under some, you know, top producers' wings and started learning the business early.
Yeah.
Instead of going through the school of hard knocks, like we do, right?
You go to a small place.
You're going to learn small, and you're going to make small moves. You get into, and that's okay, you know. But getting into a big company, if that's your ultimate dream, start chasing your dream earlier. And the mentality.
I mean, but how much earlier though? I mean, you were in your 20s, right? Early 20s at this point.
Well, we have big ambitions. We have big goals, right? What could have been?
Hey, listen, that's
What could have
commendable.
been? But
Most 20-something-year-olds aren't thinking that way.
right. But and that's what I think my parents for is the work ethic.
Yeah.
When you immigrants come into this country and seeing how hard they worked, that's the motivation. You know, that's where you get the work ethic from. Always.
Well, it was either that or going out on a boat with your father.
I'll go
right?
on the boat and have my father smack me around, you know, and get hit in the head with a codfish.
Bang upside the head, yeah.
But I wish I had immersed myself into the industry sooner than later.
So we fast forward all these years now, right? And when did you get and join the RE/MAX franchises?
So I'm always a fan of the big legacy brands because they've been around forever. They're proven. A lot of the top producers have stuck with them. And again, things are changing a little bit right now.
Yeah, the independents
have
come up a little bit.
A little bit. But if you look, as history shows, these legacy brands have proven decade after decade after decade. The systems work, and either you can spend more time, you know, banging your head against the wall, or you can get who spends more money on technology than RE/MAX, who spends more money on marketing than RE/MAX, who has the biggest conventions and the biggest speakers. Like, listen, there's a lot of great franchises out there,
RE/MAX,
trainers, but you immerse yourself into the company and you start using all of the company's resources that are already built for you. You start to navigate and you start doing what you do best.
Yeah. So when did you jump over to RE/MAX?
It's going on 7 years.
Right, because I kind of remember.
They sent me like a little cardboard thing that says, hey, we've been
Because I remember when you came over when I had the office in New Bedford at the time, and now to see where you've taken it, like, and not just you, but what I'm saying is you kind of took that leadership role. We talked a little bit off camera about, you know, so how did that end up working out with Eddie, you know, and the rest of the RE/MAX? Because you said you put some really good people in place right now.
Well, I think top producers and top teams rarely leave. Something has to happen, right? That call to action, the light bulb goes off, and this is where the industry's changed, right? Where these companies, like, and I think the brand that I was with before, they weren't big on teams. They weren't big on team offices. And that's what I liked about the innovation and the opportunities at RE/MAX. They allow you to grow a business that's yours, right? They have caps, you know how much you're gonna pay, you know what your cost of doing business is. So when you're trying to grow a team and make investments in marketing and advertising, lead generation, which is all that it was, right? Because we were just about turning the corner and the business became all lead generation. Right? It's how many people can I hire to grab a phone and show the house right away, be at that open house, write the offer, highest and best by Monday at noon. You know, how many people, again, it's like kind of, you're herding cats at the time. There were so many buyers who didn't want to buy a house at those prices at 2% interest. So you needed bodies. You needed an army of people that can get people in the house as fast as they could and deliver on that service and get that buyer client the house. And I think now it's evolving back to providing a higher level of service.
I've been promoting team concept ever since, well, the market's changed. You just said about the market changing because like you said, order taker, show me a house, get it on a contract, 18, 19, 20, 21. And then we've hit this like dynamic change, right? Rates went up, values went up, less buyer pool, less seller pool because people aren't coming off the rates. What would the team look like back then, like in those 1819s? Like how many people were on the team?
We were just talking about it the other day because we had our first meeting of the year, right? I still have a team only because of the amount of volume that I do.
Right.
So you need those buyer agents that are calling. We're doing, I'm doing probably a couple of hundred transactions myself a year, besides what the team and the brokerage does. So I need to hand that off to somebody, right?
Sure.
So we have our transaction coordinators, we have our buyers agents, team members that, hosting open house every weekend. I have my clientele that's, relying on to deal with me. We're building homes.
Yeah. A lot of irons in the fire.
A lot of past clients, right? You think now like 3 decades later, yes, I have a lot of past clients.
Yeah.
And we all have our VIP clients that want to deal with us as often as they can. So the team, what it looked like, and we were just talking about it the other day, was I started needing help. So I saw, one of the agents in the office, she was, I don't want to say like older, a little bit older, but starting to slow down a little bit and looking to help out with some extra business. So I was reading up on teams. I'm like, hey, she could be like my buyer's agent because I'm getting these calls. Buyers do take up a lot of time. And back then, this was before COVID, where they didn't have to make a decision like instantly.
Right.
It was more of a courting process. You had time, go show them some properties, get them pre-approved, go through the whole thing. So I said, hey, will you help me out? And with that, I was able to buy back some more time. And I was always the guy that made the calls. So every day new business was coming in. I wasn't scared because I was actually in the mortgage world for a little bit. Okay. And I want to thank my old boss, Rob, for being a prick to me. Like they'd come in, they'd drop a stack of leads like this, old school, and be like, listen, you don't come back up for air till you hit the bottom.
Right.
It's like those Instagram things. You don't come back up for air till you hit the bottom. I don't care how long it takes you. So there I was, cold calling Ron.
So you never had a fear of getting on the phone?
Never had a fear. I took the 100 FUs to get to the one yes.
Sure.
Built up a lot of scar tissue. I always looked at myself as the rainmaker, and I was fortunate to have a really good assistant. And then we needed somebody to handle the transactions. Because again, things aren't as efficient now as they are in your operation and in the industry. Things took a little bit longer, so we had a transaction coordinator. And then, I said, this is kind of working out good for me, and I'm trying to grow my business, increase my bandwidth. So we started recruiting, and then I started reading up on the team models. Okay, if you bring some people in, like, listen, the business you can't get to, you can hand off to a team member. You're gonna make a little bit of money off them. Everybody's winning. And now maybe they're bringing some buyers to our listings, or maybe they're bringing something into the team that we can sell. We keep, we keep filling each other's glass. And I've always loved that. I'm a big team player, big Patriots fan. Always big about helping everybody fill each other's cup. And like I tell everybody now, when you come into my organization, if you're a giver, you're going to do great. If you're a taker, you're going to be here short-lived. It's not going to last long for you. And in any industry, the sooner you learn that you have to give in order to receive is when your business is going to take off.
I agree.
And if they don't get that embedded and they don't learn that early, they're not going to make it in any industry that's sales related.
Where are we now, right? We talked about the team concept, but like how many RE/MAX franchises, spanning where, like over the South Coast here?
Yeah, so and this is what I really appreciate when you become part of a franchise, they educate you, right? They make you all the things that you want to be, and you learn all the things sooner than later that you wish you knew. So you learn about market share. So when you join a franchise, they're drilling it into your head like, this is your market share. Like right here, you're this little sliver here on this big ass pie. How are we going to constantly increase market share? And I think a lot of people want to be the biggest and the best everywhere across Massachusetts, and they don't think about how much money they're leaving on the table right here in their backyard.
Sure.
And you start paying attention. Well, how did so-and-so get this listing? How did so-and-so pick up this builder? If I was paying a little bit more attention to what's going on in my backyard, would I have made more money? Would those couple of sales that are an hour and a half away even mattered when I could have probably picked up five right here?
More,
Or could I now start spending more of those marketing dollars right here? So instead of seeing one billboard or one ad here when you go down this street, now you're seeing 5. and that one that I have out in East Cuddy, am I really getting anything from it? Do I have the bandwidth to really service that area?
Yeah.
So it becomes a reality check, and when you start looking at numbers, it doesn't become a side hustle anymore.
Yeah.
It's a true business, and when you condition yourself like, I need to know numbers and run a business off numbers, that's what I think like the franchise instills in you, and you start paying attention more.
Yeah.
And now you can provide value to your team. Like, look, this is the volume that we're doing. Here's how the lead generation is controlled. Yep. Here's the statistics. Here's the market that we need to tap into. When we really farm, it's not, hey, let me go to the mailbox with 10,000 postcards, throw them in there, and then walk away.
Yeah.
Like now you can reverse engineer all of your results. With modern technology, AI, everything. You can reverse engineer the results that you want, but it still takes people at the end of the day.
Yep.
And when you get people really immersed in the mission and believe in the same things, it's great. It feels powerful, and it's more than sales. Like, because again, it's community events, it's fundraisers, culture.
Yeah.
People. I think. I don't. People throw that word out a lot, but if you put them on the spot, what does culture mean?
Yeah.
What is it? Us going to pick up trash together? What are we doing? Or is it all of us working together, strongly giving back to the community? Like we make. There's guys making like $300,000, $400,000, $500,000.
Right.
What is culture? Are you community driven?
Right.
And truly stand behind it. Or is it just a facade?
Right.
And that's where I think people like, you make every penny that you earn through our community. How much are you giving back? Yeah. And then the culture is getting your team to believe the same thing.
I got to be honest with you. I didn't think you were this smart.
I'm really not.
First and foremost. Secondly, the pattern I seen with you is like you were willing to learn. Like you took the time, I read the infomercial book. And then you're telling me about how like when you got the franchise and like you read those books and you like learned how to create a team. Yeah. So like I see this drive in you that I didn't realize before. You know what I mean? Not just the guy that owns.
Well, the older you get, like I don't want to be the old dumb Portuguese in the room. So when we talk about like AI, guess what? I got to go take some AI training. Yeah. When you come into my organization, I say, hey, my brand has all this, has all that, but I don't know how to show you any of it or how to use any of it. Yeah. But let's focus on culture, so I don't have to show you how to do anything.
How to make money.
Meet with my secretary on Monday, and she'll show you. Like I don't want to be the dumbest guy in the room.
I love that too. I'm lead by example guy.
Yeah, lead by example. They got to learn. And this is where you bring the biggest value to your people. Like, yes, I'm great at giving out my credit card. I'm sure just like you are. To learn, take people on conventions. Like, hey, we're going to Vegas next month. Yep. We've been to the Jared James, Brian Buffini. And I go with them. And when we go on convention, I'm not sitting by the pool. Hey, all you guys better get in there. Like, I'm there. I'm actually the nerd in the front row, taking it all in.
Trying to grab a nugget, one or two pieces.
So I can bring it back to my people. That are here, that couldn't afford to go. They maybe had a family, like, hey, mom's still got to cook dinner every night, or dad can't take off, or they have responsibilities.
Or maybe they just started out and they haven't done enough sales yet to understand what it takes, and they don't have the bandwidth to spend the money to go spend, $5,000 to go.
And
to
even
Vegas
some, like when we offer to pay to take, they still can't. So you want to bring value back. Right? Yeah. What you pay franchise fees for, what you put the banner out there for, the balloon in the front yard of every listing that you get on every flyer. You got to believe in the balloon and what it stands for, and know what benefits you're receiving from it. And what benefits you can give back to the community through it, because you're part of this organization.
The training.
And when you I think it's beyond training. I think.
Like going to, what I'm saying is like traveling to go see others, how other people do it, masterminds. Like
masterminds
you meet
is more
you just meet a lot of people that are doing it way better and way bigger than we are.
And I think that there's a lot of great brands and brokerages. I give flowers to all the brokerages in our area. Everybody's working hard. We've been under fire for the last 2 years. And if you're still in business today, hey, congratulations and thank you for everything you're doing in our industry. You're still out there with your people listing and selling real estate. You're supporting your company, and I wish you guys all continued success. We've really all been under fire for the last 2 years, and I tell everybody, there's enough money here for everybody.
Sure.
Nobody's going to consume every dollar that's made in real estate.
It's impossible.
It's impossible, especially here in the South Coast. We're like, oh, I did this many millions of dollars. Like, drive to Boston. Drive to Boston. Drive to New York.
You're like a little ping.
Look up Sirhan. See what he does for sales. Or the list goes on and on. See what those numbers look like. And even though like those are numbers to be proud of here, but just know like, hey, there's more to do. There's more
Yeah.
work to put in. You have to take the time to dream bigger and actually take your shot.
Yeah.
What do they say? The only shot you miss, the one you don't take.
Yeah. That's
You
it.
know, and it's so true.
I'm an admirer first and foremost. You know, like I met you that 7 years ago, I think, when you came over to Remax, and I
Thank you.
yeah, and very welcome, because I've seen, you know, it's like funny when you're looking down at something from so far, even though we're so close but far. I've seen the franchises open. I've seen the people that you surrounded yourself with, and I was like, it's kind of motivated me to get back into the area. You know, I know we kid around. You had me on your podcast a couple weeks ago. You know, so I want to say thank you, because you know, like we just talked about getting motivated by some things. This was one of the things that motivated me. You know, I used to do a lot of business down in this area. You know, I've got this beautiful office now in Fall River. So, you know, I want to thank you for that, because I don't think sometimes when people look, you're not appreciated enough. You know, because I have seen the growth and I have seen what you've done, you know, and it's not just smoke and mirrors with you, like you practice and what you preach. And I think people are going to see that as we're going through this awesome interview. So what's still motivating you?
The haters.
The haters.
And I have a lot of people, not so much, I joke around about
Yeah.
that. But it's nice. I tell them, like, hey, you got to have some hate. If you're not, to be successful, you got to have haters.
Sure.
And I tell people, let the line wrap around the building 2 or 3 times. I don't give a shit.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
because if you want, call me at 4 a.m. and let's see who's putting in the work every single day.
Yeah.
You know, who's giving back to the community every single day. You know, and that's why a lot of times I ride in silence. I'm not here pounding my chest. I'm not spiking the football.
Yeah.
And I believe that there's truly enough business and industry out there for all of us.
Yeah.
You know, and I've brought on some of my biggest competitors onto my podcast, right? And I've given them their flowers, like, hey, man, you run a great organization. Whether it's Cliff, Kyle, Nathan, all of those guys, like, hey, they deserve all of the success that they get, because I can tell you that they're getting up every day and they're working for it.
I always said, I'm probably not the smartest person, but I will outwork you. We all have haters, obviously, but why do you think that they're hating on you?
I don't think that they hate on you. They don't hate, because I never did anything to them.
Right, personally, right.
Yeah, I never did anything to them. But I think
like when you grab like a big like I call them free agents, like it's the same with me. Like when I grab an attorney, that I was like, how did you get them? Like it's impossible. There's no way they would have left that office. Like how do you grab a power hitter?
I can't really disclose that.
Okay.
But there is a courting process.
There is always a courting process.
It's not recruiting. It's we're agreeing to do business together.
Yeah.
And together we'll get to our goals. Like, and I share people, and like I said, I have a lot of aggressive goals. So when I meet with a top producer, I share my goals with them.
Yeah.
And hey, how can we help each other get there? Like, what are your goals?
Yeah.
And like sometimes they're not aligned.
Yeah.
Like, hey, let's just be friends.
Right.
And I'd rather have affiliations and get to know people. There's enough, even if we don't ever do a deal together, we're here supporting each other.
Yeah.
I'm always a fan, you're a fan, I'm a fan, and I'm a fan of a lot of people from afar.
Yeah.
Right? But I think people our business is taken as a little bit too braggadocious. So when you have 150 agents, and we have like 5 offices, and they're doing good, and they're on my team, hey, I'm sorry if I brag about them. It's not for me.
Yeah.
Did I close a house in this person's neighborhood? Did I do a good job for my client? Yes.
Yeah.
Do they want to give me a review? Yes, they took the time to write it. So yes, I have to post it.
Right.
But a lot of realtors and a lot of investors, like a lot of that stuff is very braggadocious.
That's my word. This guy's using my words now too. You must have been watching.
I was watching. I'm like, you're not going to use it on me. I'm going to use it on you.
I'm like telling you.
And
man.
then you get pulled into that.
Yeah.
And then people, oh, look at him bragging. Like, look, no, like, listen, I really did sell those houses.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I really did give those turkeys to people that are hungry. Like, hey, I really do run a golf tournament to give money to the American Heart Association. I'm not bragging about my golf game.
Right.
You know, and when my people work hard on my team, and whether they sold their very first house, they crossed that threshold, or they sold, we have agents in our team that are doing $25 million.
Right.
They deserve it. They've earned it, right?
Yeah.
For us to be, again, magnifying how much they've done for themselves, their community. People are built, and they're doing the same thing I'm doing. They're building other little businesses within their business, right? Their little construction company, they're doing flips.
Yeah.
They created staging companies, cleaning businesses.
Yeah, everything.
We feed so many people, you know, when in a real estate deal. And then when you promote it and you put it out there, people are like, they're just knocking themselves. When you hate on people, you're really just embarrassed because you couldn't do it yourself.
I saw a lot of the braggadocious stuff. Like, 18, 19, 20, 21. And then when everything fell off, like, where'd you go?
Yeah, where's the fancy car?
Yeah, where's the fancy car, the post?
The lease is up.
Like, yeah, and like I did this segment like a couple of years back saying even the dog walker sold 15 houses last year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Experienced doorknob turner. Like, he makes 200 grand.
Right. And like, they're nowhere to be found now. You know, people used to brag about their numbers because they never experienced any success ever maybe in life, or maybe they just didn't have to have any real want or need to do it. They just they fell into it.
That's the downside that the entry-level barrier in my industry is so low. Like, what do you got to do? I got to go to law school. I got to go to college. I got to pass the bar exam. I got one of my friends down in Florida studying for his bar exam. The guy's like, dude, I'm studying 40 hours a week to try and pass this test.
We were literally just talking about that with Brooke because my daughter's in law school. And, you know, we're talking about because, you know, she's going to graduate in May. And then, you know, it's basically like you got to study until July. Because that's when the bar's taken. And Brooke was like, my parents thought I was like the worst person ever because I was just so focused. And then it kills them even worse as they got to wait for the results for 2 months. You know what I mean? But in real estate, it's like, oh, you can fast track, do 40 hours in a weekend, pass the test, and like, here you go.
Yeah, it's like the entry level, and then, oh, it's so easy to sell real estate. It's so easy, and that person's a realtor, and then they don't give us any true value. And that's where we're at now. It's rebuilding, truly elevating the value of realtors in our community. Because how many people have gone out?
Oh, a ton.
Right? Only 20% of realtors actually sold one house last year, right? So 70% of the industry didn't even sell one house. So are those people going to stick around? How long can I stick around not making any money?
Yeah, I pulled the Rhode Island numbers for last year, and only the top 200, I think there's 8,000 realtors in Rhode Island, only the top 200 sold more than 2 houses or more.
But you go back into the COVID years, like, it was that easy to sell a house. It was that easy to make 100 grand. Quit your bartending job, go sell a house. You're gonna make $100,000, or you're gonna become an entrepreneur, you know, or a house flipper. Or you're gonna buy some
influencer.
I'm gonna become an influencer. Yeah, I got like, you know, whatever many people on Instagram. A lot of different industries came from that, and good for you if you're making it in that industry. I'm not knocking it. But back to what we said, it gave our industry like a bad name. My industry, not yours. Like, low entry level barrier.
Listen, I serviced a lot of it.
Yeah, you serviced a lot. So it's good for you. That
I see the way they come in for closings. I'm like, you got to be kidding me right now. Like, you know, and not in a jealous way or whatever, but I'm seeing them walk away with like a $20,000 check, and I'm like,
yeah, like what'd you do?
Yeah, right.
And that's why we came under fire.
Yeah,
right. That's why like somebody said. They dug in their heels and said, you guys are making way too much money for what you do. And you're not going to control where that money goes anymore. So when I hire you, yes, I'm going to pay you. The other guy's got to fight for his own money. And they decoupled compensation, which is good. Hey, buyer's agents got to get better. Selling agents got to get better. You got to earn it. The consumer always has a right to negotiate. You know, and you can't take that away. And then during COVID, like it was tough for them to do that. Now, listen, everybody's got to earn their money.
Do you think the NAR decision has helped or hurt how the realtors are now looked at, or compensation? Did it wean out the people that just couldn't sell, or did you know? I
think it helped, right? Everything comes in ebbs and flows, and then every once in a while we need a correction. That's the correction. That's what came. So now it's a better experience for the consumer, right? They know who they're hiring. Like, hey, I need a listing agent. I'm going to hire a listing agent, right? I need somebody to represent me as my buyer's agent. It's taken a little bit more seriously now. And it shows 95% of people out there want to be represented by a buyer's agent. They're making the biggest decision of their life. They want somebody that can handle it from end to end, keep them out of the pitfalls, and make sure that there's somebody there on their side, 100%. So now, you know, before I would list a house and I'd be in control of all the money and I'd pay the co-brokes and they wouldn't have to worry. Now they got a jockey for their pay. And either some people are really at that level where they're comfortable negotiating on their own behalf, or they're not. And those people that can't fight for their money are getting out. And I think, like, yes, it's become less crowded. It became super overcrowded, right? And here comes the correction. Now it gives time for us to do our job, right? The chaos is gone. Listen, you're one-on-one with your client, whatever service they're looking for, and you actually get to sell your service. You have to elevate your service. The customer,
I love it too.
The customer has now a different expectation. They know
Yeah.
They're smart. They know. They've already been looking for an agent 6 months prior.
Yeah.
They know what's going on in the industry. It's not that hard. Chat GPT and Google is going to tell them, hey, who are the realtors I should be hiring?
Right.
You know, what pitfalls,
Yeah.
Chat GPT, what pitfalls should I have in this market?
Yeah.
You know, can I negotiate? Like
Right.
everything's public record.
Yeah.
You know what houses are selling for, what they were originally listed for, and what they actually sold for.
Yeah.
It's not like, hey, I got to go way over asking, pay my own closing costs, pay my own agent. No, like, listen, everything's a negotiation.
Yeah.
It's a better experience for the consumer, which again will help us raise our standards and be looked at a higher level from the consumer.
So with that said, now let's flip over to where do you see how do you gauge the industry right now? Like as far as like sales, like you feel like rates are going to be coming down. You don't care about rates. You just care about affordability. Like what do you see like the new cup of tea we can give somebody today?
I'm the old school. Like if I need, the best time for you to buy a house is when you need to buy a house. It's when it's the right time for you. It doesn't matter what I say, what Remax says, what anybody says. Necessity is going to determine whether now is the right time for you to list your house or buy a house, right? If you're already paying too much for rent and you're in a job now, your credit's gotten better, or you now have your life partner that, hey, instead of both of us paying rent, let's put it towards a mortgage. You are going to determine when is the best time for you to list or sell your house. Not me.
Yeah.
I'm here when you need me to be.
Right.
In whatever capacity you want me to be. So where do I see the market? Rates just came down huge.
Yep.
So if you've been waiting, right? If you've been waiting, listen, the wait's over, right?
Yeah.
I think rates are great, and I'm never gonna. And I always tell people, don't make a decision based on the rate. It's always on payment. Can you afford the payment? I never want you to be in a bad situation where you can't afford to make this payment.
Yeah.
So does everything line up? And rarely is this your forever home. It's usually a 5-year decision.
Yep.
Right. So can you afford these payments? Is your life going to get better? We all know that if you buy a house today, is it going to be worth more in 5 years from now? A house is expensive right now? Yes.
Absolutely.
Are they going to be more expensive 5 years from now? Yes. A rate's going to adjust and get better? Yes.
Yeah.
They've gotten a little bit better.
Yeah.
So I always tell everybody, listen, any property that I've ever owned, even the times where I've made mistakes and paid too much, time corrects everything.
Yeah.
Right? Over time, that house will correct itself. My tenants will help pay it down, or my payments will be made. It'll be paid towards the principal, the tax write-offs. It all adds up. All those little bits and pieces, nuggets add up. You say, yes, fast forward 5-10 years from now, hey, I'm glad I bought that house.
Yeah.
So inventory, I think we're going to see some more inventory on. I think we're going to see the biggest transfer in wealth in our country's history over the next 24 months.
Yeah.
Sellers are sitting, property owners right now, if you own a property and you bought it in the last 5 years, you're sitting on $200,000 to $400,000 in equity. What are you doing with it? It's burning a hole in your pocket.
Right.
Right? Do you want to buy your next home? Do you want to get some passive income? Do you want to buy your kids a house?
Right.
You have the opportunity to do it. All this newfound equity and wealth into this property that you bought a few years ago.
Baby boomers. I think they said it's the largest amount of equity that'll ever
They're going to make a move.
Yeah.
They're going to make a move. They've been waiting for rates to come down, like 3 and 4. Guess what? 5 isn't that bad.
Yeah.
I can take a 1-point hit. When they were close to 8% 18 months ago, that's a big scary move.
Yep.
Can I give up 1% now and tap into my
equity and
$200,000 to $400,000 and make some other moves in my life?
I'm on the same page with you on that. I've been talking about that as well.
Yeah, they're coming up. It's the right move to make. Read up on, don't believe me. Call anybody you want. Call any one of the great realtors out there. Read it, Chat GPT it.
Yeah.
That is the best move for you to make right now. Utilize that wealth and better position yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Tap into that equity. Better position yourself and your family into the future. This is the time to do it. Go with what you can control today.
So what do you think about this younger generation of flippers, house hunters, buy houses cash, the guys that are going to auctions? Is like, are you still doing that stuff?
Yeah, I do all of it.
You still going?
We wholesale. We have runners at and again, the one adjustment I made was I pulled my business closer.
Sure.
Right. At one point, I was trying to increase my bandwidth because it's easy. I was just spend more on Zillow, right? And send somebody to go show the house.
Right.
Now, where our investments and everything, I'm trying to pull everything a little bit closer.
Sure.
Again, this is what the brands and everyone teaches you. It's market share. How much market share? Even after every company out there crushed it in Zillow, everybody out there became a house flipper. Sure. How many more deals are there to be had right here? Yeah. So I'm dropping more hooks in the water right here. We're leaving no stone unturned, and all of our businesses are growing. Whether it's wholesaling, house flipping, the retail side of it. Our team's doing great. All of those wheels, again, we're in line with the market. The market is telling us this is a good time to invest. This is a good time to keep building to a certain point. I'm staying a little bit out of the super luxury market. Again, because I always go by the medium household income.
Sure.
You know, and I'm always going to be a South Coast boy, Bristol County, you know, New Bedford, Fall River. I'm always going to be that guy from down here. So I go with the market that I know, and I try to increase my bandwidth here.
So how about all these, so what do you look for when you're taking somebody on, like a new realtor? Like, what are the motivating factors for you still to look and say, hey, I think I see something here. Like, I can pass this along. They're coachable. Like, what is it? Is it
energy, honesty, integrity?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm not always with them.
Yeah.
So and how many people have we talked to? You get to really know people's character, right? It's like almost a poker player. You know what that person's next play is going to be.
Yeah.
So I think that over the years, I've had hundreds of employees, thousands of people, whether did work for me or worked for me. I think I'm a pretty good judge of character, and I need to know I have to be comfortable knowing that they are doing the right things, even when nobody's watching.
Yeah.
You know,
makes sense.
Because again, they're working under our brokerage, so you have to trust that they're always going to be doing the right things out there. You know, that they're going to be, because they're a reflection on the rest of us. And like, yes, I've made a lot of mistakes. I tell everybody, learn from me. You know, I've fallen on my face.
I'm a good case study myself.
Yeah,
you know,
great case study, right? Like,
well, I think my wife does it on a daily basis, like a psychology degree.
Yeah, I've effed up more than most, and I've learned from it, and I try to take that as a lesson and try not to ever go backwards. You know, and I pass it on. I tell people, like, look, stay out of this. This is why, like, we have those masterminds and those groups. And I try to learn from other people.
Yeah.
And every time I have my own podcast, when somebody comes on, I feel so good when I leave there. And I'm like, man, that guy's got a similar story. And how do they navigate through that? And what are they adding to their business? It makes me feel great, you know?
And how do you keep up on that motivation? Like, so we talked a lot about you like to read, or it seems like, what are you reading these days?
I like to watch.
I
like to, again, I'm a visual guy.
Yeah.
You know, I like to listen to, if I'm in the gym, like Ed Milet, Tony Robbins, you name them, and all the real estate gurus out there. I listen to all of them. I don't think any one is better than the other. They've all put time into the industry. Sure. So all the
and RE/MAX has always surrounded themselves by some really good coaches and really good mentors, I think.
Yeah. So I break it down into learning, you know, what I need to, like as far as technology, AI and stuff. I want to learn and keep mastering my craft. I think there's a little bit of motivation in there too, what keeps you pumped up. I know that there's somebody waking up every day out there to try and knock me off my spot.
Yeah.
And I know that, you know, there's always something to learn in the industry-wise, like what's going on, trends, like we just talked about. What's the forecast? Am I the person that has the most knowledge to make those calls? No, there's smarter people out there, analysts, bankers, whatever, that you can learn from to project and make projections in your business. And that's what I tell people too. There's a lot of great companies out there when you're getting it to learn from. Yeah. But when you say, like, this is going to be my business, you know, and I'm a business owner, my business needs to open up every single day. I tell people, if the doors are closed, you're not making any money. Right? Go buy a restaurant that's closed during the week. They're not making any money. But the guy that does breakfast, lunch, and dinner, he's hungry. You know, he's there.
He's trying to find a dollar.
He's trying to make a dollar,
minute.
right?
Yeah.
And when people, you know, make that transition, like, hey, I'm a business owner, even though, because they're all independent contractors.
I know, that's the first thing they pound their chest about. Like, I don't want to have to work. I don't have to make phone calls. I'm independent.
Well, this is why I have a team. Like, if you're on a team, like,
well, this is what I've been saying.
We hold ourselves to a little bit higher standard. And we're all collaborating because we're all working towards that goal. Yeah. But if you want to be an independent contractor.
Those independent contractors did actual 40 hours of real estate a week, they'd make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
And I think the other thing that's helped me grow too, I've gotten over that fear of people leaving. Yeah. Right? Because I don't want to go, I never want to be in a room with people that don't want to be there.
Yeah.
So I tell people, like, listen, if this is, it's kind of like with my tenants, like, this is the most miserable place on earth. You hate it. It's the worst apartment. Why are you still here?
Right.
right? And
Dragging
then,
me with you.
leave, and I'll pay you to leave, or whatever.
Right.
Or
You're dragging me
bring
with you.
Let's just part ways.
Right.
You know, like stop torturing yourself.
Right.
Like go find, you know, some greener pastures. It's okay.
Yeah.
We'll still be friends. We can still make money off each other. We can still
Right.
do deals. Don't be here and be miserable.
Right.
Go better yourself. Change your life.
Bring a toxic environment to my business too.
Yeah,
Toxicity.
like, and it's always like everyone was always like, oh, you can't say that to Sally. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God. Like, look at what Sally's doing.
Right.
She's making everybody miserable.
Miserable.
Like, hey, Sally, I love you, but you got to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The door, as soon as you learn that, and I try to save every relationship, right? I'm not saying that as a tough guy, because when it comes to that, it's not like,
Oh, the heart. There's strings
if you
in
ask
there.
everybody, anybody that knows me, be your friend or do business together, I'm always going to pick friend.
Yeah.
Put the business aside line, because I know how hard it is to build friendships and long-term friendships.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm blessed that I have so many that have lasted. And people are gonna say how old we are, because they're not old enough to have 20-year relationships with people. But I'm proud and honored to say, and it came out too, like at our holiday party, how many people were in the room that I've had those 10, 20-year relationships with.
Yep.
And that's who you want in the room. You want your raving fans and people who you're their raving fans.
Yep.
And you guys are both prospering.
Yeah.
You know, again,
That's important to me
you know,
too.
it's not just in business, you're prospering from each other's friendship. It's good to have good people in your life.
Best things
And I
you
tell
can-
people, when we go golfing, I don't want to hear a freaking thing about business.
Yeah.
These 4 hours here are sacred. This is
yeah.
like church.
Yeah.
Like, listen, we're not going to talk about business. This is our time. This is our friendship. But when we
Disconnect.
go on vacation, like, I try to get all my work out of the way, so I'm not talking about business after.
Yeah, I try to stay away from it too. That's like decompression time. It's family time. It's safe. It's a safe space.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to. I don't want to do it.
But the friendships, those type of relationships are the most important. I think that's what's helped the longevity.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes people are going to leave, and you make it easy, right? Easy for them to go. It's just as easy for them to come back. It wasn't like, oh my God, hey.
And I'm sure you've had
hey,
people
I came
leave and
home
come
and
back.
hey, their desk is gone. You know what I mean? Everything's gone, and you get the like, hey, thank you for everything you've done.
All right. So you've been in the industry a long time. There's no doubt about that. But you still have to approach it in a business mentality, right? So I would consider we're still in sales.
Yeah,
So
whatever.
what's your approach on that?
We're not swearing at anybody.
Yeah, no. Like what do you love about sales? Like what's the thing that motivates you the most to want to be in sales?
When you get into this industry, it's like I got to sell. I got to keep getting to survive, right? I got to pay my bills. You know, I got to have a closing. You know, I'm trying to make that transition from my job into this industry. So you're constantly chasing that dollar. So when you learn to appreciate the business and it actually becomes a business for you, the art of giving, not knowing, you have to learn to give in order to receive. If you're not giving or providing value, you can't expect to receive.
Yeah.
So you have to change your mentality going on to this. And it comes out to like people like, oh, I don't want to spend $1 on this person, take him out to lunch, unless I know I'm going to get a listing from him.
Right.
But you don't know what conversations are going to come out of that, what referrals are going to come out of that. And it's like the instant gratification business. It was what's crushing our industry.
Yeah.
You know, and again, Zillow, all that, like, hey, I'm spending $5,000 a month, I better get X number of closings. And you just get into that mindset, like, hey, I'm paying, so I better get. I'm paying, so I better get.
Yeah.
And then when you meet a freaking real customer that is relying on you for like that compassion and like, hey, I'm making the biggest decision in my life. And you're coming through like a Zillow robot, like, hey, I need that offer. Dude, it's over. Like, that's the shit that makes people trash our industry. That we have the commission breath and we're just so money driven. But when you wear that different hat and you start looking at it and like, man, I've had a great year. Where did my business come from? The non-Zillow, non-realtor.com business. Hey, John actually referred me his sister. And it was a great transaction. And hey, I'm not embarrassed to call them and say, hey, I have some really big goals this year. You know, do you have any, can I count on you to refer people to me? Can I send people to your business?
Right.
It's part of our business, right? And people don't ask for it because they know that they did something wrong, right? They missed a step along, and that's why they get scared. When you have a process, right, and I'm not perfect, right? But when you know that you gave that person everything that you got and you were there for them, you don't feel guilty about it. You feel guilty asking for referral business because you didn't do a good job, right? If the guy that, whatever, anybody, you name a landscaper, painter, whatever, knows that they're pulling away from your house with that check and they know that you're pissed off, are they going to ask you for a referral business? They're like, I know Mary's not happy with my paint job. I'm not going to ask her.
Right.
But if she says, hey, I love it. I love the way my house looks. Hey, any of your friends, you think any of your friends are going to be sprucing up their house this spring? You know, or hey, any of your friends put in a pool last year, they're going to be doing some landscaping. Do you like everything I did here? You're not embarrassed to ask. The people in any industry, if you're scared to ask because you know you didn't do a good job and you didn't give enough in order to ask to receive. So it does come natural. When you condition yourself to constantly give back on multiple levels, it comes naturally.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. Hey, I gave and it's not an expectation, it's earned.
Yeah, I almost never leave a meeting with somebody if I've taken a realtor out or I first meet somebody, or I always say to them, I said, hey, listen, the only way that we're gonna know if we can work well together is if you actually send me something. And we talked about that a little bit. You gotta ask for the business a little bit every once in a while. I'm also a long play guy. You know, I've been dating Ron now for a couple of years, you know, and you know, we have a mutual respect for each other, and
we bounce business ideas off each other. It's not about who does the most closings or whatever in my industry or whatever, but you're respected in our industry.
Thank you.
Right, you're respected in our industry. So when I have questions, I'll ask you, and I'll pick up the phone, and you know, Kyle and a bunch of other top brokers in our area. We have conversations about who else are you going to talk to?
I know.
Want to go talk to a bum?
Yeah, right.
You want to talk to people that are respected, and I'm not too proud to pick up the phone and call you, you know, and ask. I'm not too proud to call one of the other brokers in our area and say, hey, what are you going through? First of all, is your office quiet? People coming in? And it's like, those are the things that are kind of going on because, again, everything in our industry has spread us apart. Like everything's DocuSign. We don't have the signing of the Declaration of Independence anymore. You don't have to bring in to get the check. It's automatically sent to
you. It's been fast-tracked.
Yeah.
And I think that's where like we've lost some of that personal touch to the business too. I think COVID ruined a lot of that. I thought, you know, not only did everything boom right before then, but then COVID come and they're like, oh, can't touch anybody, can't be around anybody. So they have DocuSign, they have all these different forms of signing electronically. Mortgage apps became big. So no, like I've literally, you know, we didn't have that opportunity. We still have to have people come in and sign documents, right? And what I saw was people coming in. Dude, I had a closing in my office. I can even remember the people, but I'll just tell you the story. They come into the office. I'm sitting in my my conference table, and the homeowner was there, and the realtor came in, and the loan officer after them had never met the client. They went up to the realtor first, like, oh, how you doing? Like, no idea who they were. Like, it was John and Jill buying the house. They'd never met anybody.
And that's the stuff that led us to the lawsuit. Like, I just paid that person $20,000.
Right. Never met them, didn't even know their name. Like, walked in, I'm like, oh, here's your $20,000. I just used the $20,000 check. Here's your $20,000 check.
That's a real number.
Right, yeah. Today, you know, buying a $500,000 house or whatever or more. But I was just like, I'm sitting there, I'm going, oh my God, look at how unprofessional can we possibly be that they've never met or even saw a picture of the client that just, and they embarrassed themselves walking into talking to the wrong person.
Yes, we
congratulations on buying the house, and like it was my assistant sitting at the table. They didn't even know who it was.
Listen, it was a freight train that you're not going to stop. Right, because Zillow was just so big, the market was just so powerful at the time. You weren't going to stop that locomotive. Right.
I mean, we all rode it very well.
All gas, no brakes. You're not going to stop. Hey, that one person's pissed off. They'll get over it.
Right.
And I don't need to ask for referrals because you know what? My phone's still ringing. The phone's still ringing. Zillow's still making my phone ring, and you lose that art. Right. And that's why there's such a small percentage of realtors that build their business by referral. Because most don't do a great job.
So I know, like, as the industry has changed over the last 4 years, right? We saw Zillow slow down, all these other things slow down, but we've also seen interest rates higher. So the amount of transactions have slowed down. I mean, I'm definitely not doing the same business. I thought 24 to 25, I actually hit the curve back up again. I don't know if it was, I had to get through the point of like, all right, it can't be driven on rate, right? And so I started doing seminars again. I started doing like all these different networking events again. More integration with software, and just started like being a professor back in my business because as it was just coming in, you know, it's easy to close 200 a month. You know what I mean? So did you have any of those pain points that you kind of felt like, I was missing the spot on this, but I hired some new people, or I did something different, or do you still have these pain points going on right now with transactions, but with you have good partners. I know you do.
Yeah.
So that's important too.
Well, I think it's, what we're doing now, and I think we've talked about, and it's always good when we have conversations, collaborate about the business and our systems, and that's what you get out of having those masterminds, those conversations, right? Like you could go talk to, and that's why I love going to convention. I'm talking to a guy down in Texas, or whatever, a guy in California.
Completely different market.
Yeah, tell me what it looks like. What does your sales process look like? What is, are you going through some of these same challenges? And it's good to get somebody else's perspective on what that looks like.
And they'll help and tell you, though. That's the good thing.
I needed doorknob turners, right, during COVID. And then you start to, again, look at the big picture. And when you become an owner, you start to work on your business instead of in your, and that's where the growth comes from. Because we're just in the grind. And that's what happens in our industry, right? It's a revolving door. The owner is the top producer of the company. So he has to keep working to pay the bills and keep the lights on. And then top producers come in, you're giving them all the money. So now you got to do a massive amount of transactions. So knowing what the industry looks like, is it transactional or are we back to service-based? So it was transactional during COVID, now it's back to service-based. So now you have to overhire to provide a higher level of service. And then that's where your biggest lead source will go back to being referrals. Right? Because if you're just on a lead generation-based business, you're pumping money in there, right? To hope that you get less than a 5% return. And if you're the cold caller guy, listen, you got to get through 100 FUs to get to the one yes. So it really depends what you're built for, and what your team looks like, where your company dynamic looks like, and you can build a machine that will get you to the results. So do you want to go through 10,000 no's to get to a bunch of yeses? And hey, I'm going to get to my numbers one way or another. Or do I want to build a team that's service-based, elevate their level of how they perform in the industry, work by referral, spread the word, have people, again, keep referring business to them. Will that get you more signs in the ground now in 25, 26, and 27? Yes, I think that's where it's going. A few years prior, hey, I'm herding cats. Everybody's got to answer that phone. We're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to make that phone ring, because that's what the consumer wanted. They want to hit a button and get to the house.
Instant gratification.
Yes. They're not going to walk into an office because we're still getting out of COVID. Right. Everyone's still rocking masks. I want to hit a button and I want to get to that house as fast as possible. And yes, it's like herding cats. I need people that can run out there, get that door open, get them in, get right up that offer by Monday.
And be done.
And now it's dialed back. We're doing home inspections. Thank God. People buying houses, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, no inspection. And then they need a roof 2 years later. It's $20,000.
I know you got the calls, but I can't tell you how many calls I would take like the next day. And just like, what am I going to do? I'm like, you're going to sue them? You didn't do any inspections. Like, you're going to go this route? You didn't do any inspections. Oh, they didn't disclose this. You didn't do any inspections. Like, or when I just see for informational purposes only, you've then taken your leverage. Like, but that's what was happening. Like,
how many grenades do you want to go off in your office every day?
Right.
How many of those calls do you want every day? So you got to start thinking, like, if these are the only calls that I'm getting and they're all problems, like, is my business really going to grow like this?
No.
So I'm kind of glad that the correction came. I'm kind of glad that the chaos stopped.
The industry has now come back. Like, so, we're not waiving inspections, we're doing this. So like, how do you find yourself negotiating or working with other agents now on the better half of the clientele so that they get what they want from you and get the best service? And how do you pass that on to your other agents that you're, work under you or work at the brokerage?
Right. We were sharing a little story a little while ago about how back in the day somebody came in, the mortgage guy and whatever, they never got to meet the customer, or the realtor never met the customer. Everything was done super fast and online. Like, that's not happening right now, or it shouldn't happen right now. So now we're training everybody, like, listen, it's almost like you got to do a customer intake. You got to sit down with the consumer and ask all the qualifying questions up front. So So they're giving you the answer. So my secret to closing is I take the time to get the answers. So I know when it's the right house, I know what boxes it checks. So now I'm not being pushy. It's everything that we had talked about. But people are saying, like, closing's hard. It's not that hard when the customer told me everything that they wanted. They told me how much they wanted to spend, right? And now it's my job to go get the right house. I'm not scared to take the order. Right? I'm not scared. right? And you take the fear out of it. That's the key to closing. It's confidence. Like, we don't want to be salesy and crush the customer. Like, you're never going to force somebody to spend $500,000.
Right.
And then they're going to be happy with you the next day, right? Hey, we met, we talked about it. I can tell you, like, everything that we talked about day one, this is the house. This is everything that we talked about, whether it took, and now it's actually taken a little bit longer. The lead's a little bit nurtured, and I think that's why people don't have the patience to stay in this industry anymore.
I know, it's like.
But I asked you all the things I know, because I'm paying attention to you. I asked you everything that was important to you, what town you're looking to be in, what that house looked like. We talked about it. And every house is on the internet. Like, we can look at 5 houses in my office, 10 houses, say, hey, which one is close to the one you want? Oh, I saw that house.
Virtual tour.
Virtual tour. Is this the one that best reflects the house that you want to buy in the future? Right. Yes, so I know. I'm the bird dog. So it's my job to go out and find it. And when I know that I found it, I'm not going to be scared to ask for the order.
Yeah.
That's when closers close. Do I have your attention? Are you interested? Or am I just trying to force this down your throat? And you're not going to force people to make that big of a decision with this big price of a tag every month. That's where you lose your customer. When your old leads go ghost, that's why. They don't want to talk to you.
And, like, it's funny now because, like, houses were staying on the market a day, and I hear this, I don't want to call it rhetoric, but like they're just taking themselves down the tube. Oh, that house has been on the market too long. There's something wrong with it, or if it's not, they want to do price reductions like right away. Like, no, we're just actually more back to that traditional type market where houses took 30 or 40 days on the market to sell, or 2 months to sell, or 60 days. You know what I mean? Like
people feel like they're doing something wrong. Like, listen, how many houses are there in town? 5.
Right,
okay.
right.
Hey, maybe there's only 5. Like, listen, the right customer hasn't come along.
Yeah.
They will.
Customers coming through all the time. I know.
Yeah, and people, again, this is educating the consumer and be like, hey, there's a seasonality to every business.
Yeah.
Like, listen, we're gonna go on the market Christmas Eve. Like, listen, the house is going to sit. We're not going to see a body through here till
February.
Yeah, till February. But you want me to put it on? I'm going to put it on.
Yeah.
No big deal. I know you guys got a certain situation. Every day counts. We're going to do it. We're still going to be here, open house and that.
You're just not going to.
Yeah,
just going to be like
set
knocking.
expectations.
Yeah.
If this is the normal, this is the amount of days on market that it's been taking in your town. Guess what? You don't want to give your house away, right? You don't want to sell it for half price.
Right.
No, we're still trying to get you the most amount of money. Reasonable amount of time. This is what it looks like.
Patience.
No patience in this industry.
No patience, I know.
No patience, because again, are they putting the time in to run this like a business where you know that you're getting X number of closings a month, X number of closings a quarter, and you can balance your books and your budget and your marketing budget, and you can invest back into your business. Where people are just, again, sporadical. How does that become a business?
It doesn't.
Do I run a restaurant? Do I cook 20 ribeyes and I hope that 20 people can come in that can spend $75? No. You wait, take the order.
Right.
And you put out a good product and you hope that people come to you over and over and over again. You set an expectation like, yes, I know this is how many people are coming through the door on a regular day.
I finish every interview, Ron, every talk, every chat with, why Dan Balkun? Like, why would you send clients to me? Why would you use Balkun title?
I think you are immersed in our community, and I always, like I said, you have to give in order to receive. And out there in our community, I see a lot of people just looking to take and no one's willing to give back. Like, really, you do a lot of speaking gigs, you invest in having a lot of guys come, you take your time out multiple times a month, a year, just to have conversations. Even if you don't get a deal back, you build a relationship, you care. You're always giving back, and you're always providing. Dude, you have so much experience, and you share that experience. You share those stories. You share things that are working for you in your business, and that says a lot about your character.
Thank you.
And I don't do business with people who don't operate in that fashion. If you're working for some secret squirrel society, we're never going to do business.
Right.
And you have to learn to give back. Again, in order to receive. I've said that multiple times today because I truly believe that. And the people who you don't believe that it's given, you believe that it's earned.
Yeah.
And you have a lot to share with a lot of people, a lot of realtors, a lot of mortgage people, the do's and don'ts. And you could save people a lot of knuckle scraping. And I try to too. It's not that they always listen.
Yeah, I know.
The scars on these knuckles, I wasn't born with them.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling people, ask the questions, get around people, get around that mentorship, learn from people that are operating at a higher level. Even if it's just a little bit more, get in the room with those people that are doing just a little bit better, and you'll level yourself up. you'll honestly mentally push yourself to level up.
Yeah.
And I always navigate. I love our conversations. I love all of our business partners and the people in our community. And I'll tell them like, hey, if they're doing better than me, hey, I want them to keep doing better than me. I'm going to keep chasing them.
Yeah.
If their goal every morning is to get out of bed and chase me, keep chasing me.
Yeah.
So this way, you're getting me to move my feet every morning at
Yeah.
4 a.m.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I always
brother.
appreciate everything.
Thank you, man. I appreciate
you're there.
it all.
Yeah, I love our conversations. I love the opportunity to be here on your podcast.
Yeah. Thank you.
Keep
You're the
kicking
first
ass.
guest of 2027, 26.
I'm number one of something.
Hey, number one of everything.
No, but thank you for having me here. Thank you for letting me come to your amazing office and meet your staff.
Appreciate it.
Keep crushing it.
Let's do it.